Is this thing on? Alright, welcome to the video. So last week I went over how to shade using none other than a ballpoint pen. And the second I was done with it, I realized there was so much more I would like to go over. Not just particularly with shading, but just with a ballpoint pen in general. So this week I wanted to go over the topic of consistency. How to get consistent with a ballpoint pen, how to get consistent shades with a ballpoint pen. So with that being said, let's get right to it. I'm going to cut to me drawing and coloring with a pen. So the focus is consistency with a ballpoint pen and how to become more consistent. I think one of the best and easiest things to do is get used to coloring in different shades with your pen. So again, we don't need to use a black pen. I use a black pen. If you are using a blue or red pen, that is fine. But the concept remains the same. I'm going to color in each of these 6 blocks progressively darker. So the first box is going to be relatively light, where you can barely see anything, and then I'm going to gradually get darker and darker. And the goal of this practice, the goal of this technique, is to color in the entirety of each box consistently. So no part of it should be darker or lighter than the next. So I'm going to do that real quick, and I'm probably going to speed it up in the actual video. Boom. Okay, so as you can see, I very consistently colored in each of these blocks or squares gradually darker, 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 darker until I nearly got to a black. Now if you're watching this and you're like, Josh, you just scribbled, I don't understand how you're coloring it in, I would recommend watching the first video where I went over different techniques on how to shade and color in using a ballpoint pen. I'll link that in the description. But this is a very good exercise to use to flex your muscle, to flex your ability to go very light over a larger part, a larger section of a piece. And obviously the bigger you make these squares, the bigger you are coloring in, the more difficult it becomes to be consistent, especially with a ballpoint pen, because as you all know, you cannot erase with a ballpoint pen unlike a charcoal or graphite. So if you are doing drawings with a ballpoint pen, let's say you wanted to do a background all black or all dark gray, this is an exercise to use that is going to help you be able to accomplish that. Because doing something like a gray or dark gray for a background becomes very difficult and very tedious if you are not consistent. Because you might start trying to get this kind of gray for the background, and then halfway through you're ending up with this gray, and it's much darker, and so if you wanted it to be consistent, you would have to go over the entire thing to make it all dark. Another little exercise you could do. Okay, so I drew this little cube here. And I'm just going to color in each one a different shade. So again, I'm going to assume this is the sun, the light's coming on this side, so the top is going to be the lightest, this part is going to be the darkest, this will be like a medium. So I will make top very light, very gentle with my scribbles, always using the side of the pen, never using the top. And now for the dark part, I'm still not going very hard. I have adjusted my pressure and I am going slightly harder than I was for the light portion, but I'm still not pressing very hard. The issue with pressing very hard with a ballpoint pen is you're not going to get very consistent markings, I guess you could say. Almost there. Scribble, scribble, scribble. Okay, now I'll do the last one, which will be a medium. Probably going for that level of gray. Again, not doing anything fancy. This is years of practice of my scribble and my shading technique. I'm simply trying to color in this whole block as consistently as possible. Boom. So if you're trying to get more consistent when using a ballpoint pen, I would try different exercises like this. It doesn't need to be a cube or 6 squares exactly, but I would try to practice coloring in a larger portion and trying to get it just one shade entirely. That's really going to help you become a master at using a ballpoint pen. So that's that for that lesson. I think it's, again, nothing too crazy, nothing too difficult. Just little exercises, little tips that you can use and take home for yourself to get better at using this guy right here. if you're enjoying this, if this is something that is helping you, please like, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please share it. If there's anybody who you know is trying to get better with the ballpoint pen, send it over to them. Not sure what next week's video is going to be. It might be more pen tips and tricks, who knows? But I am enjoying this a lot, going over these little tips and doing little teaching, so I might just continue doing these. Also, if you like my art, feel free to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Everything is Josh Ryle Art. If you want prints of my work, it's on Etsy at Josh Ryle Art. And yeah, so deuces. I'm out. Have a good one.